Hello guys, welcome back to our channel again. So in the previous video we have discussed a very good topic which is Deque. Now in this video we will discuss a topic which is known as priority queue. First of all we will discuss that what is priority queue. So priority queue is nothing, is a array or is a queue in which the things are stored according to some priority. Now you can modify that priority. Suppose default the priority is maximum. So the maximum element will be stored at first index, then second max, then third max, and so on till you get the values. Now, if you want to modify it, you can easily modify. You can find a min by which you can insert the minimum elements priority as the highest priority, then next element as highest priority. Like this, you can insert the elements in a priority queue. Now, the advantage I have given to you that easily you can insert in a correct order, and the time complexity of insertion is also very less. It is log n, which is very less. And if you want to calculate the size and that all, it is also very efficient. But the problem in the priority queue is that it does not directly print the values. We have to first pop the values and then we have to print the values. Now what I am talking, I'll first implement it and then explain to you. So first of all, I will create a integer n, then I'll take its value, and then for I less than n and I plus n. Now first of all, before insertion we have to define the queue, the priority queue. So how we will define this? So just we have to write the priority queue, priority underscore queue. So this is how we will define the priority queue. Inside it we have to define the, inside the angular brackets we have to define its data type, so it will be int, and its name. So this is how we will define a priority queue. Now this is the default priority queue in which the greatest element will be at the first. So now we will push back the values. So in this case we will not push back the values into priority queue, we have to push the values. So we will push into v1. So v1 dot push what, so we'll push it back. So now if you want to print it, so before only for all the data types, what we do, auto I and its type, and then we have to just print I. But in this case it will return an error. Now let's first run it and see that what error it is showing. So it is showing that there is no matching call to begin this priority queue. So mainly it is just saying one thing, that there is no begin and end pointer in this priority queue. So what this auto do, auto just iterate over all the values from begin to end. Now in this case v1 does not have any begin and end, so in this case this condition becomes false and we have to again we have to again use some any other method to print the values. So for that what we will do, we will just iterate over a while loop, and what we will do, we will check that v1 is empty or not. So what we have to do, we have to check that v1 is empty or not. So if it is not empty, then we have to run, else we that does not require to run. So what we will do, we will just write v1 dot top. So what it will return, it will return us the first element of the queue, and then after this we will print it and then we will pop it back. So v1 dot pop. So this is how we will print it. Now let's see that it is printing or not. Control S and Control B. Okay, I've done. Deque. Sorry, I have not. This is a function, and I am defining it as a variable. That's why it is showing some error. That, so let's change it into the function. Now it should work properly. So I've inserted in some other order, and the value is coming in greatest integer first, and then smaller than that, and then like this. So values are coming like this. Now in this case, if we want to check its size, we can easily check cout v1 dot size. So we can do this function easily, or we can implement this easily. So 5 is our size. After this, empty, I have told you that what it will do. Simply we have to, like this, we have to implement. Then push is very simple, like this. Pop is very simple. Top is very simple. After it, in place comes, where all the values of the priority queue will be initialized, or will be push back some values. Now in the in place, you can push back how many values you want to push back. Similar values, suppose I want to insert 1 to 1 10 times, so with the help of in place function you can do. So for that, I'll give you a link, you can check that thing. Now before that, we must know one more thing, that how to define a minimum priority queue. So for that also, we have a similar syntax, in which this is a very weird syntax, but this is true that this is only the syntax. So for that, what we have to do, we have to define here a vector int, vector of type int. Then after this, again a comma. After this, we have to define a function. So for that, we are defining a greater, define a greater and int. So this is how we have to define. Now if we run it, we got our priority queue in reverse direction. First 1, then 15, then 43, then 131, then 12, then 12. So now let's see that what these two things are doing. Now first of all, this is a basic syntax, in which first of all we are defining a vector, then we are just calling a function which is there in C++, which is greater int, in which the greater elements will be pushed back at the end. So in this case, if we want to define a minimum priority queue, we will define like this, and if we want to define a maximum priority queue, we want to replace it simply, and if we run it, we'll get our answer. Is running, and we got our answer as reverse in the direction. Now this is very frequently used in competitive, where you require to take the values according to some priority, or we want to push the values according to its higher values. Many questions come like this, so in that case you can use priority queue, because it is very simple to implement. I have implemented it very easily, and then I have taken the values also very easily. And then if we want to print, it is not that much typical task, but it is typical than vector and that all. So now if you want to study more about priority queue, I'll give you a link of priority queue in the description. From that you can study more about it, but the thing which I have told you is enough for competitive, and if you want to elaborate more, very good, you can go to the link and study more. So the next video will be on stack, so if you want to study stack, you can subscribe my channel, and please don't forget to share and like my videos. And please, I forgot something, comment, I'll definitely cover that topic in the next video, and if more topics are there, then I'll make a new video.